So I wanted to get this done even though it'll be a short video and I don't finish a lot. This is the basic wing structure, and you can see it's cut out, in this case, 1/16 balsa. Pasted everything on with a glue stick and then cut them out separately. And the way I had it clamped together, just how it's going to end up going, gives you a nice dihedral, gives you the nice length of the fuselage. Those pieces fit like that, so they overlap each other, which is a great idea. Makes things nice and strong. So on either end, they overlap like so. And you got to be careful looking at the plan. It's hard to tell exactly, but that's what you're supposed to do. And then some other pieces go in the center that are a little separate. And 1/16 balsa seemed to be just about right, because when I look at the plans and those slots, 1/16 filled them perfectly. So that's what I'd used with my 1/16 balsa. And you can see WP3 matches up with WP3. So everything's very well labeled. In this case, I use super glue because I'm putting balsa together and just want to make it nice and strong. Put a little bead of glue on either side and then slide these things in. And the way they are cut, they have an option. You can either cut them straight through and put them on either side or make notches. And notches to me make so much more sense. So put that in, make sure it's square to the as square as you can get it. When you skin it, you'll be able to do a little bit of altering. But both sides, both wingtips, wing panels, get the same treatment. A little bit of glue, and then you put the rib in there. And again, the fit is very good. It looks to me like the top, the way it's made, the top of the rib is flush with the top of the spar. That's important later, and I'll tell you why. Anyway, make sure it's straight again. I pulled my little right triangle out a couple times just to make sure it's relatively close. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because it just doesn't have to be, you don't want it wildly out of whack. Centerpiece, again, this one you can see this even got shapes on it, little circles, black circles that let you know you put it on that side, not the other side. So you can't really mess it up, which is really nice. It's neat they do that. Slide that in. Again, the top is flush with the top of the spar based on how they're cut. Kind of make sure that's as square as I can get it. And again, I'm going to probably make some reinforcements here as we go on. But this was just to get it started. And I just couldn't wait to show somebody how it's working. Because it's kind of fun to get now the fuselage is sort of done. And see, there's those open circles, and they fit where the open circle key is. So again, not reading Polish, doesn't matter. You can put this together just by looking at the drawings they have and paying attention a little bit. Slide that one in, glue it so that it's at right angles as well. And I just can't imagine putting this together with cereal box cardboard, but there you go. People have done it successfully, just not me. Anyway, so that's the basics. Now, I blast these with a little zip kicker just to get them glued in place so they're in there. And this turned out to be not such a good idea because the next step is to put the overlapping spars on either side. And so that zip kicker is sitting there and fuming away. And so when I put glue on these, I used super glue to put them together, and it all worked out. But there were a couple of tense moments where the glue basically, I tried to put the balsas together, sandwich them, and there were these bumps, and I realized, well, the stupid glue has just polymerized, and it worked. But I should have probably just waited, gone to have dinner or something, and then come back and do this. But I couldn't wait to put it together. So this slides up, and you can see that the spars, the ends butt up against the rib, and then you got that big facial area there, nice surface area to put some glue. So here's what I mean. If I put glue up there, it's already probably polymerized. So this was I actually lucked out. It worked, but it was, for a moment, it wasn't such a good idea. Put a little glue on the end of that guy. I'm just putting on the end. You can't see it because of my great camera work, but it's there. And these fit pretty good. They're, the right size for each other. There I'm checking the plans, making dang sure I'm putting in the right way. Forward or back, on the top of the spar or the back of the spar, front or back. Anyway, that's good, and I squeeze them together, and they line up pretty well. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there, and that's when I'm panicking, realizing, oh, for crying out loud, there's dried glue. There's zip kicker. But I was able to push it together, and no harm done. It worked fine. Didn't damage anything, and it was okay. It was just fine. So there's that piece. Looks good. And a little bit of bending is going to happen. Like I said, when you put the skins on, you're going to be able to straighten some things out too a little bit. But this is just the nature of the beast. It's not a bad thing. So I put the other side on without showing you. Now you're going to put the center parts on. Now these fit nice, but they're cut in half. I mean, they're actually cut so that you don't have a notch. Not sure why, but you put them in and follow those. See, like those three. My finger's in the way. There's three. It's so dumb. There are three little lines there, and there's three little lines on the side of the rib to show you which place it goes. But those lines don't actually line up. They're just, I think, just to tell you which rib goes where. But what you do is, and it's a little tricky, you just put this in, make sure you're putting it the right side up, and line it up. Now, what I decided to do was line up the top to be flush of the rib, to be flush with the top of the spar. Because when I cut these out, that rib is actually a little deeper than the spar. So there's a little piece underneath that's goes a little over that edge. But I figured as long as I keep everything in the same sort of, everything lined up the same, I should be okay. We'll see. I hope so. Skinning this is going to be a joy. Anyway, that one has two little lines on it. You can see the two little lines on that side. Same thing. I lined it up so that it's flush on the top, and then glue it in. You see, like, yeah, those lines are not there, I think, to line it up per se, because they won't line up. Straighten that out. I'm going to put some triangles in there, some right triangles, to make sure those are nice and solid when it comes time to finally glue this thing together, and to put the skins on again. This is where I panic usually, because this is exactly the kind of thing I don't like, which is a rather delicate wing structure. And this is where I end up inducing twists and having problems, and so we'll see how we do. That isn't on this video, thankfully, so I haven't done it yet. So, but this part is just a little tricky. Line it up so that it's on the top and flush, and then you make sure it's vertical so it lines up with the back rib, and glue that in place. Do the same with the other side, just to make sure it's good and straight, because those are the parts that are going to go up against the fuselage. So they're important fuselage sides. So there it is all together. And you can see now that this piece goes in. Now this, I want you to deal with this, because that is wider than 1/16. It's wider, that piece that's cut out, the hatch piece. It's considerably wider. So I thought I was going to split the difference and kind of cut down the middle of it, or a little bit on either side of the middle, but stay inside of the outside outline to make sure that my little spar is good and solid and sticks in there well. So all I did was slide it in place. And it doesn't matter if there's a little bit of the paper buckles a little bit right now, because this is just to test fit it. And then you can go around from the back side and push it out if you want. But it's relatively straight. It looks cool to have it on there. It looks like, gosh, that's what the wing is going to look like. It just gives you a hint. And even when you look at it from the side, you can see in a second here, the rib, the top of the rib actually is in line with the drawing. Let me adjust this a little bit. The top rib is in line. You can see with that black line, that's the drawing of the rib, not the white part. That's going to be a nacelle or a fillet, I think. But I mean, that worked great. They both look like they're supposed to. So I'm assuming I'm in good shape so far. Skinning will be separating the men from the boys.